Welcome to your November 2016 Love and General Tarot card readings. About ready to get started here. Just a quick reminder to find me and connect with me on Instagram and Facebook as Jane International. Would love to connect with you there. I am a little bit more interactive on those platforms than I am here via YouTube. So if you feel like it, would love to have you. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, Virgo. With your love reading, if I can shuffle here. Okay, at least one. Your love reading for November 2016. November 2016. Okay, I think we're good on that. Okay. A lot going on. Okay, I'm going to start with the page in the center of the reading. Okay, let's see if you can see all these. There's an element of freshness with the Page of Swords. It's one of my favorite of the pages, whether it's love reading or anything, because it's just more, in essence, a lighter spirit, a more maybe optimistic attitude than maybe you've had recently or in the most recent past. And a little bit more forward looking into the future, something like kind of, fresh new horizons, looking for something different, looking for something to stimulate you intellectually, emotionally, something like that. For some of you, you might be reaching new places with your relationship. You might be connecting with someone new. I'm sensing this King of Cups here is specifically your partner or person of interest, okay? And I feel like you're kind of taking on the persona of all three of these characters here. Knight of Cups and the Queen of Wands. A little bit emotional, okay, in a positive way. I think you're wearing your heart on your sleeve. It's very apparent at this point in time, your feelings, maybe your feelings towards this person. I think that they might be very well aware of your intent toward them. Look at how much energy is being geared. I mean, even here, you might be planning a future with someone, and maybe not verbally, maybe you're not openly discussing, especially if this is someone that you've only just started dating. And you might even be suppressing those feelings within yourself. You're not fooling anybody, but you might be trying to fool yourself. Suppressing it meaning you have these intentions or you have these desires within yourself to maybe have this person in your life in the future or to build something with them, especially if this is someone that you're just starting to date. This is like a classic, I don't want to scare them away scenario. I don't want to freak them out. I don't want them to know how far ahead I'm thinking because we've really only just begun. Two of Wands is the beginning of a journey. It's thoughts of growth and expansion, but it's only representing those first few steps in the overall growth and expansion arena. And you're not going to jump from just starting to date to all of a sudden being in a full-blown, committed, let's get married type of situation. This is your partner, obviously, they're not going anywhere. You're not going to scare them away with your thoughts of commitment. But I do feel that you are, in fact, suppressing something, that maybe your feelings, maybe your intentions, maybe these thoughts that you're having are afflicting you in some way. Logically, okay, Page of Swords, Queen of Wands, also very logic. I feel like maybe this passionate side of you is coming out, this passionate side of, maybe that you haven't tapped into for a while, that you haven't really felt in a long time. This person kind of, they bring it out in you, and it's probably very hard for you to hide your feelings, very hard for you to hide your intentions. You're trying to hide it from yourself, though. 9 of Swords, it's, it may be questions like, why do I feel this way? Why am I thinking about this? Am I all of a sudden jumping to wedding bells and baby carriages when I'm just, starting to date this person? Or again, if this is your long-term partner and you're married already, you could be jumping to something else, or you could be, again, trying to convince yourself that you don't feel something. You're killing your feelings, you're killing your passion with your thoughts, and I think it's really afflicting you. It's really stressing you out, The thing is that we can't really control how we feel. Queen of Wands energy, she's maybe not as, emotionally repressed as a king. She has a lot more balance, and I think she's kind of the one keeping that balance at this point in time. Your curiosity about the future with this person, your emotion. It's interesting that we're pulling out the Cups, the Wands, and the Swords, because it's really the 3 kind of connections: the emotional, the intellectual, and the physical. It's not Pentacles, but it is the Wands. It's indicative of action. It is maybe someone with whom you want to take action with. And what's interesting about this King of Cups is again, kings are a little bit more emotionally repressed, right? Their emotions are not as balanced. They're not as in tune with emotions as a queen might be. And they're also certainly, more evolved than a knight or a page, for sure. They've been through a lot more. They have a lot more experience. But at the same time, the king energy is more concerned about, not saying they're not concerned about you, but more concerned about, themselves and their career, the things that they have going on in their life, their social standing, their reputations, and all these sorts of things. And there's kind of a level of indifference almost. I'm not necessarily seeing this character being so receptive of your attention, not being so receptive of your intent. Not saying that they won't give that to you. I see opportunity here, but I also feel like there's, but maybe they're not. Maybe they are, I don't know why the word too logical is almost coming to my mind. They're almost thinking it too hard on their end as well. It's like you're both sort of overthinking it. You're both killing it with fear and doubt, as opposed to just allowing the beautiful energy to just come in. Oh, did I prep the deck with reversals? Oh, I did. There's reversals in here, but we didn't get a single one. It's interesting. There's opportunity at the end of this reading. There's blessings, there's goodness, there's, planting of seeds for things to grow at the end of this reading. This might be a little bit overshadowed by these. It's almost like you just kind of need to let it come in. You almost kind of need to let it happen organically. I think you, Virgo, at this point in time, you're trying to be too objective about this relationship, too objective about the situation in which you find yourself. They might be doing their own thing, living their own life, building their own retirement account, doing all the things, independent adult males do. Male or, I say male because it's a king, male or female, doesn't matter. Adult people do. And they're very grown up, they're very responsible, they take care of their stuff, They're not necessarily in need of someone, right? This is kind of an oil and water situation. I mean, fire and water. I say oil and water, fire and water. You know, they are opposite. They may, you know, the energies may be very intriguing for one another, but I'm wondering if you aren't seeing compatibility issues. If you aren't seeing, like, it's like you really are drawn to them, you really like them, or you love them, but yet there's something about the way the energy is where you know something's just a little bit off, something's not right. Therefore, you're kind of going into that spinning mode, almost trying to deny yourself this connection that you feel. Now, I'm going to pull out more cards here in just a moment, but I just want you to know, I'm not really seeing the energy reciprocating back. However, it doesn't mean that they're not. They are still here. They are present. I think they will be present in your life in the upcoming months or years. Obviously, if it's your partner, it will be. But if it's someone that you're just dating, you know, they'll remain around. You know, kings and queens, they don't necessarily go anywhere. The knights, yes. The pages, yes. They can come and go and fluctuate in and out of your life. But these people are more solid. They have a place in your life, and whether or not that develops into a relationship is irrelevant. It's just kind of where they are. Now, there is some potential for growth. There is some potential for passion, and that's why I'm saying it doesn't necessarily mean they don't feel it or that they aren't thinking it. It just means that they're not displaying it. They're not giving you the signs. They're not giving you the signals, causing maybe a little bit of like confusion, causing even a little bit of, dare I say, desperation on your end, because it's not being fed back to you, leaving you questioning. And that's one thing that the Page of Swords does very, very well, is question things, questions motives, questions, you know, pays attention to the details and says, well, what about this, and what does this mean, and what does this mean, and well, is this a sign? And, you know, classic overthinking. But then your Queen of Wands side of yourself is saying, nope, be strong, be independent. You don't need him just as much as he doesn't need you. I'm sorry. I'm just going by the male, female of the cards, but they don't need you as much as you don't need them. You know, they are doing their thing. That means I should do my thing. So you try to just go do your thing and you try to be independent. But this Knight of Cups side of you is so obvious. You know, your heart is out there. You're available. You're exposed, and I think you're trying to cover that up. You're trying to hide it, whether from this person, whether from others in your family. You know, maybe this person really doesn't know how you feel, but if they would be around you, it would be quite apparent how you felt. Again, you're suppressing the beautifulness of that just because you aren't sure. So let me pull out some more cards here. And I know you're trying to be objective. Unfortunately, it's very hard for objectivity and love to coexist at certain times. Four of Swords is that, you know, restful, meditative state, looking at things from a quiet place, analyzing things, trying to, you know, remove the emotion from it. But it's so hard to remove emotions from it when you feel it. Okay, well, these popped out. There's 4 here. I'll give you the extra one just because it kind of popped out. And I'll kind of display all of these here. So, I mean, Page of Cups, or I'm sorry, 6 of Cups, Page of Wands, I meant to say. 6 of Cups, Ace of Cups, 10 of Cups, certainly a message that there is reciprocity. You might not know, and maybe that's what it is, right? Maybe it's like they're just not giving you what you need. They're not letting you know, leaving you questioning how they feel about you. How do they feel about you? What are their intentions with you? It can be a very frustrating place to be, especially if you're just in the development stages of a relationship, or if you're totally single and this is someone that just has kind of captured your attention, and there's just an inkling of hope that maybe there is a connection on their end as well. But again, they're just so cold and so closed off and so repressed and so not obvious, you know, and then you might even feel a little bit foolish for being so obvious or for being so available almost. But there's beautiful things here. I think there's a large potential. If this is someone you're starting to date, there's potential for a lot of spark, a lot of growth over the next month or so, a lot of getting to know one another. I feel like there's a very childlike wonderment about it. I feel like this connection that you feel wins, right? No matter how objective you try to be, your feelings always win. Okay, it's kind of a very unbalanced scale. As much as you try to pretend, well, I'm not saying you're pretending. You are, in fact, this Queen of Wands energy. You are strong. You are independent. You are this. But it's almost as though this person makes you feel so silly, makes you feel so adolescent, makes you feel so weak in the knees that you kind of act foolish. Now, they don't think that you're foolish, okay, but you feel like you do. And you might even analyze your own actions and the own things you said. It's like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. That sounded so dumb, kind of thing, you know? But there is this sweetness and the genuineness, and I feel strongly that they feel the connection as well, and that you have a very significant potential for love to grow, at least start to take the first steps towards something victorious, right? Towards something of a goal. Obviously, not everyone's going to meet someone and get married this month, but 10 of Cups is that ultimate and emotional fulfillment. It's winning. You know, your heart will win, okay? Caution, I think, is important here. I don't think it is a good idea to be emotionally overbearing. I think you're doing exactly what you need to do on the facade front. Okay, sometimes you need to play that role a little bit. Obviously, if you overshower that, or you shower them with love and tell them everything you feel, and, you know, we say emotionally slutty, right, where you just kind of let it all go. Obviously, a king doesn't handle those emotions very well. They do need the queen, right? They do need that balanced person, as opposed to that maybe more knightly person or the more adolescent person. So be sure to tap into that queen-like energy with that emotional balance. You know, she's the good balance between the repression and the openness of the knight. And the lack of control of a knight. So she's right in the middle there. That, I think, is what is more attractive for a king. So even though this is all going on in your head, and you're getting to that point of being like, forget it. Like, they're not interested. I'm just talking myself into it. They don't feel a connection. I think at that point, once you decide there's nothing, then maybe there will be something, and that the first steps will be taken, right? These are about steps. They're about the beginnings of things, new adventures, new journeys, new learning experiences, growth and expansion within your own life, within your own aspirations for yourself as well. This might be, you know, someone that's kind of from your past, right? Like I said, they've been around, they've been in your life for a long time, and they do have genuine sweet feelings towards you. And if you've been friends for a while, maybe there is a chance to kindle a romance. Maybe there is a chance for that to really work and to transition very nicely into a partnership. Okay, also no reversals with those either. Interesting. Okay, Virgo. Let's continue to focus on you with your general energies, okay? Anything else that is really meant to come out? Anything else you should be aware of or you should know? In the reversal. Okay. Okay. I feel like there's an element of messiness in your life this month, okay? When I say messiness, I just kind of mean, confusion. It's kind of triangulating the reading, and it's actually triangulating this person. Now, this may or may not be your significant other, your partner. This is certainly someone prominent in your life, though, okay? It's not you. It is someone else. I strongly feel that this Empress is you. The positions are too close, right? That it's too similar to the last spread for it to not be you. And I kind of am feeling a little bit of conflict here. This person is very likely to remain committed, they hang on to their obligations. But again, Kings are a little bit emotionally repressed. And when things stir up their world, they tend to not handle it very well. They tend to let small things crash down their world, crash their egos, and really, really affect them. All right, and I am, this could be a father or a mother. It could be a coworker or a boss, someone that just a neighbor, someone that you have a relationship with, probably a substantial relationship, because there is this element of choice as well with the lovers in the very center of the reading. I am starting to interpret the lovers more and more as choice. Can romantically speak to the chemistry that you feel with someone, but in a general reading, I'm really starting intuitively to feel it's more about you need to make a decision, right? Like, I think you might be in a position where you're forced to choose. You're at a little bit of a crossroads, which is Seven of Pentacles, right? Forced to choose a new direction. Again, I'm going to carry a little bit from that last spread because we had that idea of objectivity. Now, Pentacles are about the things in life, right? The numbers, the nitty gritty, the assets, the things that you have in your house, in your bank, the cars, the stuff that you have. And also just the tangibility of life and the mundane, low-level detail, the boring stuff in life. You're stepping back and saying, is all this worth it? Looking at what you have, what you've done, your accomplishments, your portfolio, your whatever, your body of work, and really thinking, is this really what I want my life to be? Are my finances in order? Is my life on the right track? Am I going to be able to achieve certain goals this month? Am I going to be able to buy this vacation or this boat? Or am I going to be able, and it's like planning and making sure you have, in order to get from point A to point B, you don't know how to get to point B until you know where point A is, because if point A is here, you're going to need to go this path. If point A is here, you're going to need to take this path. So it can really give you a good handle of where you are at this point in time in order to get to where you need to go. So I think this kind of choice or this point of analysis and objectivity and looking at where things are and deciding your future, right, in a very normal, real life kind of way, not this huge existential, big purpose kind of way, but very real, very tangible, very, doable. might cause you to really, it's even an analysis of your personal beliefs as well, and making sure that things are going the way that you should, the way they should, the way you want. And I feel like this analysis, though, or this point of looking where you are is kind of placing you in this like darkness area with the moon here, and might cause a little bit of a rift, right? A lot of times when you analyze your finances, or you look at, your career and say, do I need to make a change in my career or not? Is this really in line with how I want to live my life? It can cause a little bit of upheaval, especially when someone's kind of in the middle of that. This is definitely about analyzing options, right? Choice options. This person might not be so happy about it. This person might not understand it. They might, again, they don't want their world to be shaken. But it's okay, right? I mean, you're coming out as the Empress. You are the creator. You create things. You're a producer. It's what you do. So if you need to take a new route, that's fine. You just figure out how to get from point A to point B successfully, and you do it, right? You're not just gonna plan it, you're not just gonna think about it, you're gonna carry it out. Again, a lot of times when you really look at where you are, you're like, wow, it's not what I thought, it's not, maybe I'm more in debt, or maybe, oh wow, I'm less in debt, that's great. So the development of the plan, I think, can cause a little bit of emotions. It could cause a little bit of frustration with this person. I'm kind of seeing the Three of Cups here as being your attitude. You even had the Page of Swords in the center of the last spread. Very light, very, very light, very, it's like an easy breezy type of attitude, which is great. I don't think what you're going through necessarily is easy, but your attitude and your optimism about it and your commitment to focus towards it is very important. It's critical to the success of this little mission of yours, right? You might feel a little overwhelmed, but I don't think that you are specifically feeling overwhelmed. I think that this person might be causing you to feel overwhelmed. I think you're very on point. I think you know what you want. You're looking at your life. You're analyzing options. Okay, it might be a little bit scary. The moon energy is the unknown, the subconscious, things kind of, illuminating very slowly. You becoming aware of them very slowly, feeling a little bit scared, because often a time when we are analyzing change, or feeling that we need to make a change in our life, career path, moving from one city to the next, whatever, it leaves us feeling like, wow, there are so many details that I haven't thought about yet, and how do I figure out the logistics of all of these? And remember, you're in that very tangible, mundane mindset where you are looking at the day-to-day and you are analyzing just the steps that need to be taken and actually carrying those things out. Let me pull out more cards for you, okay? Oh, well, you got all three of these last time. Same person, okay. They might be playing tricks on you a little bit. They might be taking... Okay, so I'm kind of sensing them really being the cause of some of this confusion and frustration. Again, not a big deal. Five of Wands is not insurmountable. It's not undoable. You can work your way through it. It will be fine. But they're kind of playing two sides. They're playing the fire and water. They're playing opposites. They're playing... I mean, it's like a two-faced person, bipolar person, you know, someone who is confusing you and saying one thing and doing another, and yes, I'm on board, and then no, I'm not. We never talked about it. And I feel like it's confusing. They're the ones confusing you. They might not be entirely on board with your plan. They might not be entirely on board with what it is you want to do. But really, this is about you. Your life, your career, your decision. You know, this is you, and it's really up to you. And involving them in this decision, it can probably, you know, at least give some good insight. Maybe they can give you some good things to think about. I'm seeing a positive outcome with the Ace of Wands at the end. So regardless of what they say, I see potential for opportunity for growth and establishing roots in something new, which is exciting, right? So just maybe take what this person says, whether it's their opinion or their actions, just take it with a little bit of a grain of salt. It's simply because, again, kings are a little less likely to process emotions and to understand their own emotions, causing a little bit of overwhelm within themselves when they have to, you know, deal with something that's emotional, causing, you know, and sort of projecting their own insecurities and their own inabilities to process on you, really looking toward you to make these decisions, looking toward you to take the lead. Even though, you know, they're the leader, you are in fact, or they're kings, you are in fact the Empress, which is a major arcana. So your energy at this point in time is stronger than theirs. Don't let them suppress you. Don't let them affect you. I think you won't. I'm seeing that very light energy, and I feel like you're going to kind of brush them off and maybe even a little ignore them a little bit and kind of write it off as something not important. They're a little bit, you know, being confusing. They don't even understand what they're feeling themselves. Therefore, I'm not going to worry or put so much weight on what it is they say. I'm going to make my own decisions for my own life, and I'm going to start something new and just go for it. You know, so a really positive, upbeat reading for you. I'm super excited. I think November will be a very productive month for you all. So it's good. And I'll leave you with that. Thank you so much, Virgo, for watching, and I'll see you next month. Bye.